If you're considering picking up an OG Canon R5, or maybe you have one, I have something to share with you. Well, hey there, my name is Tony, and I am a filmmaker, photographer located in the St. Louis area. And today, everybody is talking about the R5 Mark II. It's got all of these new bells and whistles, including C-Log 2 and a full-sized HDMI port, and it's got eye-tracking autofocus and all the things that everybody has ever wanted. And if you own one of these R5s, or maybe you're considering buying a new camera, all of a sudden, this camera is trash. Well, I disagree. In fact, I want to talk to you just a little bit about my experience with the R5 and kind of my philosophy lately when it comes to buying new gear. So I actually purchased this R5. I purchased the R5 and the R6 during the launch, before they were even released. I pre-ordered them back in 2020. And for me, the R5, it kind of caught up to where I was at with my skills and what I wanted in a camera, and being able to afford that technology. Sure, there was cameras that do amazing things before that, but for me, they were either out of reach or they didn't have certain specs that I wanted. And so when the R5 came out, it kind of blew the industry away. And sure, there was little quirks and quicks in it. It overheated a little bit right away and all the things, but through firmware updates, some of those things have been improved. The autofocus has been improved. The overheating has been improved. For me, this camera was really the first camera that kind of met me where I was at in my creative journey. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the idea of getting new gear and what companies do to get you to think that their old gear is no longer good. And I just want to kind of diffuse all of that. And I want to celebrate the R5 and all of the big bags of money that it has made me, and the ability to help kind of take my creativity up to the next level. So if you're not totally familiar with the R5, you probably are if you're watching this video. The thing is just a beast. It's got huge megapixel photos. I think that's somewhere in the 45 megapixel range. Shoots 8K RAW video, which I've shot maybe once or twice. Realistically, the way that I shoot this camera is in 4K 24 or 60. And if you're shooting in 4K 24, the thing doesn't overheat. I've never had it overheat in 4K 24. It shoots incredible quality with great dynamic range. Is the R5 Mark II better? Most likely, but the R5 still creates quality content that I am totally satisfied with as a creator. And in all honesty, my clients have been okay with the quality of dynamic range. I have never heard a client say, wow, I just wish that camera had one more stop of dynamic range. Never. On the photo side, the files, the CR3s that come out of this camera are, one, gigantic. I can actually shoot more data with photo than I can video on, say, a wedding day. But the other side of that is they're beautiful. They're just beautiful photos right out of the box. You get Canon colors. You can throw it into Lightroom and edit it however you need to. And I have just been blown away with the autofocus, the amount of shots that I get right with the camera because of the features that are built into it. And then the fact that I can crop in if I want. I'll actually shoot horizontal and then crop in vertical, and nobody can know, especially if you're delivering things that go on social media. Even with prints, the files are just so gigantic that I've never had trouble with the file size of these cameras. So, okay, so let's talk about this idea that as soon as Canon releases a new body, the R5 Mark II, all of a sudden this camera is no longer good enough. This happens with everything. You find a piece of gear that you love. Say it's a light, say it's a microphone that's right above us, say it's a new camera or a lens, and you're using this camera and you love it and it's producing the quality that you need, and then all of a sudden a company releases a new piece of gear and that camera is no longer good enough. Well, that's just not true. Obviously, there's all sorts of videos about how it might be incrementally better in different ways, but the truth is, the gear that you're using right now is the best gear that you have. Even if it's an iPhone, it's the best gear that you can have because it's in your hand right now and you get to experience it and you get to push it to its limits. And so with all of this that I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to do is encourage you. Use the gear that you have and celebrate the fact that you're able to have gear, you know? I love this R5. If you're actually considering picking one up, you can get a steal of a deal right now. You know, under $3,000 for a 45 megapixel camera that shoots 8K. It's incredible. Don't overlook that and don't stretch yourself, especially if you're a hobbyist, you're not making money on this. Like, don't stretch yourself to try and get that new R5 Mark II just because that's what everybody's talking about. And you continue to hear that the R5, the OG, is trash. It's not. It's a great camera and you can make plenty of beautiful pieces of content, whether it's photo or video with it. So that's all I have to say. I would love to hear your comments. I just did a video a couple days ago on the R5C versus the R5 Mark II. And I got lots of great feedback of people that just absolutely love the camera. In fact, I'm shooting on it right now, shooting on the R5C, which is kind of fun. Actually, to let you know, I'm shooting on the RF 50mm f1.2. And so, you know, it's just a beautiful kit that I have right now that I'm shooting this video with. I've really enjoyed it. I did a shoot last night with it, and I am not disappointed at all in the dynamic range or the battery life. In fact, I did the whole shoot on one battery. Now, it was about an hour. We were outside. We were, this is kind of fun. We were shooting a ad for Christmas lights. I've got a company that I work with that installs Christmas lights during the fall. And so we put a whole bunch of Christmas lights out in a house here in St. Louis. It was literally 95 degrees. It was incredibly hot. And the guy's like, should I wear this like Christmas suit? And I was like, no, don't put on the sweater. It's too hot for that. But had a really good time. Didn't have to worry about overheating at all with the R5C. But like I said, use the gear that you have. Would the R5 Mark II have given me better dynamic range? Maybe. I'm personally not gonna notice that much to the point where it's like, oh, this footage is garbage because I know that the R5 Mark II could have done better. That's just not reality. So do your homework. Make sure to look at all of the cameras, and that kind of goes with the ones in the lower line too. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, even as a hobbyist, I've got to have the R5 because it's better. It's got more megapixels. It can shoot 8K. Well, take a look at the R6. Take a look at the R6 Mark II and figure out which camera is gonna be able to push you and support you in your creative journey and not bankrupt you. Something that you can afford and something that you feel okay with spending that kind of money on. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, am I off? Should I sell my R5 now that the R5 Mark II is out? What do you think? Leave your comments. All right, I'm gonna leave another video here soon. I think I'm gonna get into some tutorials and things. My life situation has changed a little bit. I'll talk about that someday. Now that I'm doing full-time freelance and kind of starting my own creative company, I've got a little bit more free time. I was working as a creative leader in a large organization, and I kind of just poured my heart into that and didn't put out these videos. And so now that I've got some free time and I've got some money coming in, I've got some projects coming in, I would love to be able to just update you guys of what I'm up to, give you some new tools for your creative tool belt, and talk about some gear, talk about things that maybe you might overlook because of the price. That's kind of my whole thing. Even when it comes to drones, I'm still rocking the old DJI Mavic Air 2, not even the 2S. So it's probably time for me to upgrade that because I'm noticing some of the quality isn't quite as good as some of my gear. So, but my whole thought is let's push that gear as long as you can and get the most out of it before you upgrade and spend that extra money. That's going to give you the best value. Agree? Let me know.